Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video. This one shouldn't be as long-winded. I mean, that was quite a long video, that one, obviously, because I showed the stages of cutting the door out and stuff like that. Hoping today it'll be a bit quicker. I'll just show you things. Obviously I'm putting the heating in, so I'll show you how I connect more than one mat to one plug, you know, little things like that, just so that no one electrocutes themselves or blows fuses, or, you know, it's pretty straightforward stuff, to be fair. Yeah, we'll put the heat sources in. I literally just tape the heat sources in, so it shouldn't take too long to get done. Yeah, fingers crossed, well, by the time we're finished, we'll have a perfectly working incubator. I mean, obviously yesterday I said it's all sprayed, so let's have a look and get on with getting the heating done. Right. As you can see, the fridge is all sprayed, looking nice. I've done a little bit of a dodgy excessive recessive sign on there, just again a bit of spray paint, and just cut out a little template. Just thought I'd personalise it a little bit, but it does look a lot better now it's all sprayed black. So yeah, what we'll do now is we'll get onto the heat and the thermostat and let's get it working. Right, so we now need to get our heating in. Rather than drill any new holes into the fridge for things like the thermostat and the wires to escape, what you've got in this fridge in particular, there's a little hole at the back which is the drain plug. So hopefully if I poke the thermostat from behind, it should come through. That's the plan. There we go. So we have a little ready-made hole for our wiring, because then obviously the less holes, the less heat we're going to lose. So what I'll do now is I'll get the mats together and we'll start putting those in. And yeah, let's see how we go. Right, so I'll say what I'm going to do now is I'm deciding I'm going to have one mat. You couldn't really see it in my video yesterday. We have one mat down here at the base, facing that way. So if I can put the wire up and behind, just wanted to put that shelf in just so I could see where I could run the wire and where I couldn't, so it can come out now. So have the mat behind, and hopefully there's enough room in this drain plug just to poke the wires through, which at the moment there is. That's with two through, so hopefully you can take all three. Now I'll take this in. I prefer duct tape. You haven't got to use duct tape, but I tend to find duct tape sticks well, so that's why I use it. It's simple as that. I mean, you can use the foil tape that people tend to use, but duct tape, if it works, it works. So I'll literally get a line across the front, get it into position. It's going to curl a little bit, but it shouldn't make any difference whatsoever. Once that's taped down, we have one line. Best bet is to do the sides and run it up to where you're going, just to make sure the mat sits as flat as possible. There we have two. Obviously try and central it as best as possible as well. And we have another line. Just a little bit of OCD in me needs to put a little bit of tape in that corner to make it square. Again, you haven't got to do it, but it looks a bit better if it's all nice and neat. I'll put a couple of little bits across the back just to keep those down. Keep it all nicely in place. Now what I'll do is I'll put a bit of tape over the wire to hold that in place. So we haven't just got wires flapping around in there. Again, I'll go through that little gap there to make sure the shelf doesn't get affected. Get the wire pushed down into position. And there we go. There's mat number 1. So now I'll just go on and get mat number 2 in. It's this one again. Don't break my shelf. This one again is going to get taped in, but poke the wire through first. Like I say, there is actually 60 watts of sort of power here, which should, in theory, be plenty for this incubator. It's only small. I mean, I used to run my bigger incubators on 100 watts, so this should definitely be enough. And this mat's going to go in like that, up the back. Get yourself a bit of tape. Probably going to be a little bit trickier doing this on my own, so I've got to hold it and tape it, but I'm sure I'll be alright. Behind the stack. Stack can now come out of the way a bit. Actually the wrong way around. Make sure you keep them the right way around, obviously, otherwise the heat will be pushing the wrong way. Again, try and centralise. There's one. And what I'll do on the other side is I'll do a shorter section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the wire flat at the same time. Do the top first, just get that bit out of the way so it's holding in position. Not the biggest space in here. Obviously, it's not designed for someone to be hanging out of it. But again, just tape it up. Get it all holding in position. Get a bit across the front. I mean, sometimes I screw these in as well, but maybe I'll bother with this one. It's, like I say, it's only pretty temporary. Got a little bit of tape off there, it's a little bit too long for my liking. Here we go. A couple of more bits. So I like to keep this wire down as well, so I'll probably just double the tape up there. I'll say one more bit across the bottom, then we can get onto the wiring side. Thermostat back out of the way. And there we have, and that's in place. I love duct tape. It is a very strong tape. We'll double up down the back just to make sure. Rather than having to pull out all the eggs when they're in there to retape it. At the end of the day, it don't matter if there's more than needed. What it'll do is it'll hold it that little bit better. So one more line across the top, and I think that'll be it. Right, and there we have it. So now once we get our shelves in, number one at the bottom, I'll adjust these if needed. And at number two, and finally number three. As you can see, there's heating all the way down, there's some above, there's some below. So as far as I'm concerned, that should heat it perfectly. Well, let's get on to connecting the wires and yeah, put it on and see how we go. Right, so obviously you've got these two wires, these are for the two mats. I'm not too concerned about them being the same length because you can all tuck in out the way behind the incubator, but I tend to use a fuse switch. So you wire these or you get a rose connector. I mean, these are pretty straightforward. This one's already got a plug on it from a previous rack, so I haven't got to worry about that side of it. But once I get this undone, should have prepared a little bit, but you know, can't prepare everything. Right, so in the back here, let's see if I can get it in camera. Oh, going the wrong way. You see you've got your live neutral and your earth, your live neutral earth, your supply and load. Your supply, obviously, that's your plug, and then your load will be your heat mats. So what I'll do is I'll wire these in. The two mats will go into this one, and then obviously this is one with a light. So once the mats are on, obviously the light will be on, and then when it hits the thermostat, the light then starts, you know, either going off or flashing, depending on what state you have. But yeah, we'll get this wired in. I like to, just while I'm on the subject, what I'll do is I like to put this on the side somewhere. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, I like to put this on the side up here, just so that it's in full view. So when that's on there, I can see the light at all times. Yeah, and the same with the stat. I will put that next to that, just so that again I'll keep an eye on everything that's going on. But let's get wiring and let's get it up and running. I mean, again, for this, it's obviously very basic tools, just some wire cutters. Basically you just strip down your wire. Now, I'm no electrician by any means, but this is pretty sort of common sense stuff. Obviously it's only blue to blue, brown to brown, you know, it's not rocket science there. I've built all my racking this way, it all gets done the same. You're best off having a fuse switch. If anything does pop, at least it's the fuse in the switch that pops rather than your electric at home. These cutters are a little bit sticky because this wire again is a bit sticky. It's been wrapped up before. Right, so we have that one and we have that one. I mean, this one's a bit of a mess, so I've cleaned that up a bit. Right, and then like I say, it's pretty straightforward. Get your brown with your brown. Well, one twist them together, but I like getting them together because I know they're completely connected. And obviously we've got to go through the plug. So these, where they've been used before, I've already got my holes made. So in there, and then there's no earth on heat mats, so we just need to go into the neutral and the live. But I'll undo them a little bit just to make sure I get a good connection. And make sure you don't have any bits of wire hanging out, because what can happen is them bits of wire can then connect to something else and cause you a problem. So just make sure they're all connected nice and tight. Like I say, it's not rocket science, to be honest. So you get your live and your neutral. They're right in there now. Throw those two up. It's like tug, they're perfect. Alright, and what I'll do is I'll have those coming in at the bottom of this switch, and I might even switch the plug around so they all come out at the bottom, because at the end of the day I don't really want a wire coming upwards to go back downwards. So at the end of the day, same again, it's literally undo those two. Like I say, all this is where I've had racking that these have come off of. Obviously everything runs at different ways, so I'll take that out, pass that through the same hole. Again, make sure you get no loose bits of wire. Anything to fall out and touch another terminal is never good. And neutral and live back in. Again, it's marked all up the same, neutral and live, so it's pretty foolproof. I mean, depending on the switch you get, you'll either have like load and supply, or you know, they're all pretty basic. See that one's not in. That's why you always give them a tug, just to prove that I do things wrong as well. I'm not perfect. I'd like to think I am sometimes, but I'm not. Far from it, to be fair. Right, so the neutral's going in. You can normally feel it when you're doing it up anyway, to be honest. I did have a feeling that wasn't. There we go, we're connected now. So now, that's all on. So what I'm going to do now is get this to the side. And I'll say just somewhere, get it as high as I can. Let's get a screw. I'm using the same screws I had yesterday, because I find these drill in quite well. I mean, there was a bit of a pain in my bum yesterday, but let's hope they're a bit easier to do today. I'll make a quick hole in the back first. Go, there's one. I'll put another one in just to make sure it stays square. There we go. We'll close this up, and that's all done. Get in camera view just so you can see. There we go, it's on the side. I'm going to tighten up the plug itself. Also, a good thing about have a load of second-hand bits. It's cost me about £4 in total, maybe even less, to build this incubator, because all I've bought is the spray paint, and that was something that, you know, I didn't have to do, but I decided, you know, it's better to do it rather than not. I mean, again, what I will do is I'll quickly tape over these wires. Just like I say, I don't like having wires just flying around everywhere. So if they're taped up, they ain't gonna disturb anything or make any mess anywhere, and nothing's gonna get pulled. You know, it's, in my opinion, it's a sensible thing to do. At the end of the day, it just keeps things nice and neat. Well, I've said don't worry about too much excess, because that will just plug in around the back, you know, out of the way. Now we have this wire, which obviously will now plug into here. So now the real test, I'll quickly plug this thermostat in, just to make sure we've got power going to it. And here we go. Let's switch that off first. Alright, so we see the thermostat's on, and now we have a light on there as well. So in theory, they won't be very hot yet. See, there's no heat in there at all. It's not the warmest in my man cave. So if we give that a couple of minutes, then we should be picking up some temperature. Now, I've got no thermostats or anything in the fridge yet, but I'll just have a quick feel and see if the mats are heated. Yeah, we'll have to give it a minute, I think. So what I'll do is I'll cut the video for a second, and then we'll come back and see if we're getting some temperature. Just quickly, before I'm going to wait for the temperature to come up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo these 4 screws on the thermostat. I'll show you why. Because basically I like having a thermostat connected rather than, again, swinging around. So if you undo these 4 screws, obviously I've unplugged everything first because I don't want to electrocute myself. I'm sure a few of you would like to see me jump across the room because I've had electric shock, but I'd rather not. It would make good TV, but not for me. Right, so 4 screws out, and on these thermostats, being an on-off stat, they're pretty loose inside. So what I'm going to do is, if I get this up here, maybe I might even go next to it. If I go next to that, I'll put a screw in, and then that can live on the side of the incubator right next to that. So let's get a screw. You have to excuse my breathing, I've actually got a bit of a cold at the minute. Obviously you have to just be careful not to get any of the internal workings damaged. I'll only put the 1 screw in here, so to hold it in place. But yeah, and there we go. We now have our thermostat attached. Screws back in. I mean, obviously you haven't got to do this part, this is just my own personal way of doing things. I attach them to most of my racks as well, just to keep them with eye shot. It's always easier to keep tabs on things if they're where you can see them. There we go. Right, let's plug it back in. And always back on. Let's hope the temperature comes up, and that is our incubator. Basically, I need to put the thermostat in place, but I'm going to be removing the shelves to get it into the snake room so it's a bit lighter. So I'll do that once it's up there. Right, so obviously been waiting for this to warm up a little bit. It's been about half hour, 40 minutes. It'll probably take a good couple of hours to get up to temperature. So we'll see what we're at the moment. We're at, there you go, about 74. But obviously I need it in the late 80s. That's the right bit. I need it in the late 80s. What I'll do now is I have a few different probes here. This one here is just for temperature. It'll only read the temperature setting, so I'm not too worried about the humidity. And we have these ones which are temperature and humidity, because each one of the tubs will have one of these in there just so that I can monitor it. I mean, I'll have one of these top and bottom just so I can monitor the temperature in the actual incubator itself. But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll set up a couple of tubs and show you how I do those. Same again, it's pretty straightforward stuff, but let's have a look at how I do it. Right, so what I generally use is this. It's for Mikla height. I'm not sure how many places you can get it in now, but most builders merchants used to sell this in the bulk load, because it's an old insulation for lofts. It gets right in between the eaves, that's why I used to use it. So basically, I mean, I've got a big bag of it, but I put some in a box just to make it easier for you to see. Put in probably, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches deep, maybe 2 inches max. Just because what you do is you have that in there, and then once you put water in this, probably like the same weight of water that you're using for Mikla height, and that stays wet. So this will stay nice and moist to keep some moisture in the tubs. I mean, I've got pre-drilled holes in these tubs. Depending on how the humidity goes, because I don't normally use these tubs, like I say, I've normally got a bigger incubator. So I have like 9 litre rubs normally, but this incubator will only hold 6 of this size tub. Not sure exactly what size these are, but I'd say probably about 5 litre. But yeah, so you have that, and obviously you don't want the eggs getting moist. So what I tend to use, I know everyone uses egg crate and stuff like that, but I tend to use this. It's actually gutter guard. So again, you can buy it from any B&Q. See, these are a bit big at the moment because they're designed for the 9 litre rubs I normally use. But you can see if I cut across this joint here, which is pretty straightforward to do, I just use a pair of cutters or even scissors. But literally, see, these cutters might be a bit more aggravation than they're worth. But if I cut across, say plastic, just cut this to size. I might switch for scissors because these don't tend to be working very well. Bear me 2 seconds. Like I say, it's not the hardest stuff in the world to cut, so once you get your scissors cutting through it, and the thicker line in the middle is a bit harder, but again, it's definitely doable with a pair of scissors. We have one, and you see, good thing about these, they've got these little bits of plastic that generally, like I say, they'd be sitting in a gutter. So now, when I put that in, it's going to sit slightly off the floor. And again, there's a bit of a space to the side, so I use my little patch I just cut off there. And if I can use a bit of this, that should be about the right length. Cut that off. And it gets a bit tighter the further you go in, obviously, because it's starting to constrict itself on the scissors. But well, they'll get a certain way through, start the other end. So you've got nice lines to follow. Last one, there we go. And there we have it. Now we've got our egg box. You know, the eggs are going to sit on here, not on the moist for Mikla height. I mean, obviously we have lids for them. Otherwise we'll have little escapees once they hatch. So that will clip on. And then these, like I say, the incubator holds 6 of these. So 6 should be plenty. I mean, you'll get a good 1, 2, 4, 6 or 7 eggs, I'd say, in each tub. So if I have a clutch bigger than that, I will have to use 2, which is why I used to use the 9 litres. Let's get one for comparison for you. Actually got one here. You can see the difference in size to what I used to use. So I used to get plenty of eggs, as many eggs as I wanted in these. And I actually, if you see the straws, I actually use those to put in the vermiculite. Once they're in and it's moist, they will hold, say you've got eggs, they will stop the eggs from rolling on one end. Again, people use pegs, but I find these, they won't go mouldy, they won't go manky because they're plastic. But yeah, that is the basics of an egg box. Obviously, like I say, I haven't put any batteries in it yet, but this will literally just sit in the egg box like so. Once that lid's clipped on, it won't move, and I'll just sit those on top, you know, at the front, or maybe in front of the tub in the incubator, just like that, just so that when I just look in, I can see the temperatures that are needed to be at. Oh, yeah, you can sit there for me, but there we go. But yeah, so basics of an egg box. Like I say, it's not hard to do. But yeah, we'll get this incubator in the snake room and I'll show you where I put the probe. But yeah, all seems to be going fine and dandy. As you can see, the incubator's now in the snake room. 32 feet. We're running at about 1.5 to 2 degrees difference from bottom to top, front to back, so nothing too major. I think I might have to get some new thermostat probes. I'm having to sort through a load of them just to find out which work good and which don't. We're at about 30-ish degrees in each tub, but it's on, it's working. Just got to get the temperatures right when now it's up in the room. Obviously the room's at 80 degrees. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'll keep you posted. Once I can get it up and running properly and perfect temperatures, I'll let you know exactly what I had to adjust. Just so you know, I've decided to put, see, that was at 31.7, 33.9. See, I'm not 100% on these, just because I've had them a while. I decided to put the probe up in the back corner over there. I don't know if you can see it. Right in the far corner. Right in the far corner up there. Just so it's at the height, because obviously heat rises. But yeah, I'll say incubator is in. I think it looks alright. Like I say, you can see through, see the tub, see the temperatures. So that was the incubator. Hope everyone likes it. Hope it gives you all some ideas as how they're done. Like I say, it's a pretty straightforward job. It'd be even quicker if you have a glass fronted fridge, but like I say, it just gives you another option. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Fingers crossed here, like I say, it helps you, and let's hope for some nice babies to fill this one up. I'll let you know when I get temperatures all perfectly straight and clear. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I will have, once I get my eggs, I will be taking the gill off the eggs and, you know, showing you how to candle, yeah, removing the gill from the eggs, putting the eggs in the incubator, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, keep yourselves posted.